and the way it was running just did not look like any human.
Immediately, it felt like someone was watching. Something was watching.
We seen some eyes, which were glowing a bright red.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to This Sasquatch Show, brought to you by Nicola Valley Bigfoot. Sit back and enjoy.
This happened when I was 6 years old, 6 or maybe 7 years old. And I lived in Ontario. I lived in southwestern Ontario, right on the Great Lakes. My parents, I'm 6 years old. My parents moved to a new home that was just outside of the city that I was living into, a very small city, probably only had 30,000 people or something. Anyone who knows where I'm talking about, it's right off of Georgian Bay. Small city right off of Georgian Bay. So my parents moved out of the city and they moved kind of like into a remote area. That's just outside of the city. It's only like a 10-minute drive outside the city, but like I said, the city's not very big. So when you drive outside of the city, it's actually like remote. There's nothing but fields and forest. The house that we moved into, actually situated right behind, another property, beside another property. And then at the back of our property was just like, in their property was just forest and fields and, that kind of thing. When I grew up, when I was 6, like between 5 and maybe 8 or 9 years old, we're talking about 1990. There wasn't cell phones. There wasn't much entertainment. So we just made our own entertainment. We kind of just went outside and played and went through the forest and like checked out, we kind of just did that. We were outside all the time. It didn't matter, that our parents trusted us to walk outside and just hang out in the woods. And, it's kind of funny. Like, I wouldn't let my daughter do that now, but anyway, it's hard for me to say.
Well, take your time. Take your time.
So where we moved in, it was a house, like I said, situated behind another house, had a very long road to get to the house. It was a little yellow house. It was a one-story house. It had a front yard, a side yard where that had a big tree in it. And then it was just like a single, like, I don't know what kind of tree it was, but it was just a massive tree that was kind of like sitting out the side of the house. Like not a part of the forest. It was just like a single tree. But it was a pretty big tree, decent sized tree. When I was growing up, my dad is an outdoors guy. He loves fishing. He loves hunting. He loves outdoors. He took me outdoors everywhere we went, everywhere. I went hunting. I knew how to fire a shotgun at 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew how, and I love my dad. And obviously this is 1990. Okay. And we're talking about 31 years ago when time was very different. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
My dad, he taught me all these survival skills. So I think that's why maybe they were more comfortable with kids running around, So getting through it. God bless your editing skills. Okay, I'll get to it, man. Just bear with me. Okay. I think it was the fall, if I remember correctly. Like I said, I was 6 years old. It's hard to remember the time and every little detail, but I think it was the fall. My parents were working in town. We kind of, our neighbors had like we just like, they would pawn me off to the neighbors to kind of like watch me for the day or whatever. It was like my babysitter. Like I said, I'm 6 years old. And, but like I said, they don't really like watch us. They kind of just let you roam around and do whatever you want. So like, sure, they're there if you need like something to eat or something, but other than that, I'm running around outside. You know what I mean? I wasn't and that also, and I was like a bit of an ADHD kid and, staying inside wasn't really easy for me. So, one day, it was in the fall, my parents would always leave the house open too, just in case I wanted to go home and do whatever I wanted to do. But mainly I stayed there. But it was one day in the fall, 1990. I believe it was 1990, maybe. Oh man, this is tough. I've never told anybody this vocally. Anyway, so I leave. I'm at my babysitter's place. I won't say her name. Let's just call her Alice, because I did that online. I was at Alice's. Alice was watching me that day, and I go outside. I was having fun. It was a beautiful fall day, and my parents are at work. Yeah, all the kids were at school. I think I was too young to go to school there. I can't remember why I was at. Maybe I was sick. I don't know. So I leave my babysitter's place. I go back home, and I felt like shooting G.I. Joes. So I like using my little BB gun and like shooting things. I got in a lot of trouble with that. So I went and got my G.I. Joes, and I was shooting G.I. Joes, and then I got bored, like in the backyard. And then I got bored, and I just decided, oh crap, let's go for a walk in the woods and just kind of go hunting. I wanted to be a hunter. I was very impacted by my father and his hunting skills. And I had my BB gun, and I got my little hat. And I'm cruising, and I'm walking from my backyard, which takes another trail into like another area of the back of the forest, which wasn't too far, maybe 200 meters, 250, I don't know, whatever. So I'm back there, and I'm kind of like, I'm hunting, I'm searching for stuff. And, and I see a white rabbit. I see one, and I'm going to get this thing with my little BB gun. I'm 6 years old with a little BB gun out there to get this rabbit, right? And, so I'm like, cool. So, I'm cool, I'm sitting there. I got my, you can do the kneel down and look down the sights, and I'm looking at this rabbit, and, so behind the rabbit, I was focusing on the rabbit, but then I noticed something behind the rabbit, but like in a distance, like really not far, but probably 20 yards, 30 yards. And it was a face, and but it was on the ground. It was like in between these two little, I don't know, like trees or rocks or something. But I noticed it, and my mind instantly went black. I thought for sure it looked like a human. Like it was like a gray face, like it was leathery. But I'm 6 years old, and I don't know. Like I went black bear. I honestly went, oh my God, my dad taught me about black bears, and you should always be afraid of black bears. I'm out there with a BB gun. I can't fight this black bear. So I freak out, and I run home as fast as I can. Gone. I'm back to my house. I'm inside my house. I don't even go to Alice's place. I'm back home at my place, and I'm like, oh my God. And I freak out.
Was the creature laying down?
Yeah.
It was laying down and watching you, or was it just trying to hide?
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it was looking at me. It was either looking at me or the rabbit, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't looking at the rabbit. Now I say this now because now I can say this because I know what I was looking at. Back when I was 6 years old, I had no idea what it was like. I had no idea what Sasquatch was. I had no idea. You know what I mean? I'm just a little kid. So anyway, fast forward, my parents come home, and I didn't even go back to Alice's. I just stayed home after that. I just like, nope, I'm staying home. This is where my safe place is. I lock the doors. No one's coming to get me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I lock the doors, but you know what I mean? Like, so my parents come home, and I tell them, I'm like, there's a black bear, there's a bear out back, and my dad's like, oh, okay, well, look, don't go back there anymore. Just stop playing around, stop being a, kid, I guess. But they didn't really they didn't really think of it, in any other way. So I just kind of like let it go, and, I didn't really, whatever, it's a black bear. I'm in my house, I'm safe. I don't care. So day goes on, normal life. I'm in my room. I have to go to bed at a certain point, and I'm in my room and I'm playing Nintendo. And, it's pretty late. Like I wasn't, your typical kid, you can tell them to go to bed, but they'll stay up late and do what they got to do, and the parents don't really care if they stay up too much, So I'm playing Nintendo, and I'm sitting down on my bed, and it's pretty late. It must have been after midnight at this point. I didn't like sleeping. I loved staying up. It was a beautiful night, man. It was, oh my God, bear with me here. This is hard.
That's okay. Take your time.
Okay. So to paint a picture, I'm sitting on my bed and I'm playing Nintendo. I think I was playing, I can't remember that Blades of Steel or ice hockey. I love hockey. And, there's a window, there's two windows. One window, remember I told you about that tree that's outside of the house that was a solo tree? Well, that was right near my window. Probably about 50 feet, something like that. And I remember just kind of sitting there and I could see outside the window because there was no curtains or anything. I didn't have any curtains. I could see outside the window from where I was sitting. Anyway, I looked out the window and I could see a monkey in a tree. Like he was just in the tree, and I don't know what he was doing. He was just in the tree. It was just a monkey, man. He was just a random monkey, and I was like staring at it, and I don't know, there, you know, didn't know what to think about it. It's just like, oh, there's a monkey. That's really cool. I'm 6 years old, you know. I don't know what the heck. I've never seen anything in that tree before, but when you look at it, it looked like it was a monkey. It was just there, sitting in the tree. Like not sitting, but like I don't know how to describe it in a vocal way. It was there. I'm like, oh, cool, a monkey. You know, I like monkeys. Monkeys are fun. I'm 6 years old. I go back to playing my Nintendo. I didn't really care. I get tired. I go to bed, and I hear this noise, this slap on the side of the house that awakes me. It was almost like, you know, when you're sleeping and something like suddenly awakes you and you go, holy crap, what was that? But you don't really, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, like when you get jolted.
It was like that.
Yeah.
And where I'm laying down on my bed, you can kind of see like the light coming through the window from like the moon, right? Well, you know, when somebody walks in between like a light, it kind of like you can see the light kind of like disappear, but reappear. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like if somebody walks in front of a light, like a flashlight, the light will go away. You know what I mean? Like the motion.
Yeah, like a silhouette shadow type thing.
I open my eyes and I see that. So I sit up and I look outside. And staring back at me is a silhouette of a very, very giant monkey. Like, it's looking right at me, man.
Did it make any noises or did it make any gestures or anything like that?
I got scared. I didn't know. Like the adrenaline just, I don't know. You know, I just went under my little safety blanket. I hid my head underneath the safety blanket. I just sat there shaking and scared. I didn't know what to think. There's an intruder outside my house. I didn't scream for mom. I didn't scream for dad. I just got terrified. And I went under my blanket and I don't know what that feeling is, but like I just fell asleep. I just couldn't do it. I just fell asleep. And then I woke up. So I woke up in the morning after that and there was a loud commotion outside. There was like a lot of, like my neighbors, the people that babysit me were outside and their neighbors, our neighbors from the other side were outside. My parents were outside. And because I guess what had happened was so Alice, oh God, it's hard to say. They had they had two little copper spaniel dogs and they always stayed outside. They had their little sheds that they would live in and they had pretty thick chains on them. You know, they were hunting dogs. They were used for hunting. These little, I don't know if they're copper spaniel, but like they're, you know, the hunting dogs that you use to like flush out deer and whatever. Well, what happened was one of the chains got snapped in the middle of the night. The dog was missing and there was footprints everywhere. So not everywhere, sorry. There was footprints that came in to like, because they're little, like where they run, you know how when a dog like runs around like after a time, like that little dog that's chained up it's gonna be muddy, right?
Yeah, like a rut.
And I don't know, I guess for whatever reason there was prints that were just outside where but they were human prints. They were like, well, that's what they thought. They kind of gathered and they were human prints and they were running off into the woods and I thought that somebody stole their dog in the middle of the night. And they went and they got all their guns and they tracked these prints into the woods. But they never found the dog. They never found anything. And looking back on it now, Those were Sasquatch tracks, man.